Welsh couple, Grace Mort and Jacob Kennedy, were arrested in August of 2023 after law enforcement found they'd been running a drug operation out of their home in Barry. When the property was raided on August the 28th, the authorities recovered over 50 grams of high-purity cocaine and 38 ecstasy tablets from a garden annex, along with multiple mobile phones. The estimated street value of the seized drugs was over £15,000. In the operation, Kennedy was tasked with weighing cocaine and bringing it to Kennedy. Incriminating texts exchanged by the pair between April and August of 2023 revealed various details about their drug dealings and the personal toll the operation appeared to take on their relationship. In one text, Kennedy asked Mort to bring 2 0.5G deals. In others, the 20-year-old complained and appeared to feel used by Mort as he wrote, "I'm just someone who gives you sniff whenever you want it, and you can sniff my work but not answer your phone." Officers also found a checklist of customer names and the money they owed. Mort and Kennedy answered no comment to all the questions directed towards them by investigators. Prosecutors argued that the couple aimed to obtain significant financial advantage from the drug trafficking. By the fall of 2025, both had pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply cocaine and MDMA, and being concerned in the supply of cocaine, 25-year-old Mort avoided jail and was handed an 18-month sentence, suspended for 18 months in order to carry out a 20-day rehabilitation activity requirement. As of late September of 2025, Kennedy's sentencing hearing was still pending. Number 11. Monica Young. On March the 20th of 2020, Australian woman Monica Young began teaching at an all-boys school in southwest Sydney. It was her first teaching job. As the COVID pandemic forced the closure of schools, her classes, most of which were in geography, moved online. In the weeks that followed, Young, who was at the time in her early 20s, initiated a flirtatious exchange on Instagram with a boy she taught. The messages turned explicit, and at Young's direction, they traded nudes. School resumed in mid-May, and by June of 2020, the relationship turned physical. Between June the 24th and July the 6th, she and the boy had relations multiple times, including while they were both at the school and in Young's car at a nearby park. Young flooded the boy, who was in his early teens, with lewd messages. She manipulated him, using dares to push the boundaries of their physical relationship, and mocking the teen when he didn't have the balls to go through with her challenges. The most brazen of Young's offending included groping the teen at the back of the classroom, while the rest of the students were watching Wall-E and having relations with him in an English room. On the last day of school, they met in a staircase, and Young performed an oral act on the boy as a farewell present. The illicit relationship was discovered on July the 7th when the boy's cousin, an aunt, spotted him sneaking into Young's car. The cousin dragged him away, and the family reported Young to the police. By 2021, she'd pleaded guilty to 3 counts of aggravated intercourse and was jailed for 4 years and 9 months, with a non-parole period of 2 years and 5 months. Number 10. Brianna Moore. In the fall of 2024, Brianna Moore was arrested in Mississippi for killing her daughter shortly after giving birth in April of that year. The incident took place while Moore was a 19-year-old student at the University of Tampa, where she'd arrived on a $30,000 scholarship and was getting excellent grades. On April the 27th, Moore gave birth in the shared dorm bathroom. Her roommates raised the alarm after hearing the sound of a baby crying and subsequently discovering blood inside the bathroom. The following day, the authorities found a deceased newborn completely concealed inside a bloody towel in the trash. A medical examiner determined the girl had died from asphyxia due to compression of the torso, with rib fractures, and had several broken ribs along her spine and small hemorrhages in her lungs. She'd basically been squeezed to death. Months later, Moore was arrested. It would emerge that during a September 2023 text exchange with a Mississippi man who wasn't the girl's father, Moore discussed pregnancy prevention. The man said Plan A was condoms, Plan B was the pill, Plan C was to kill. Moore replied, Plan C is my favorite. Moore's lawyer confirmed the texts were genuine but argued they were taken out of context. Moore claimed that the girl wasn't breathing when she was born, adding, "It wasn't moving, so I felt for a heartbeat and I didn't feel one." However, the injuries she'd suffered and the fact that her roommates had heard the girl crying disproved that version of events. A neuropsychologist who evaluated Moore concluded she had a cryptic pregnancy, referring to the phenomenon in which a woman may not know she is pregnant or is in denial about it. As of the latest updates on the matter, Moore was charged with aggravated manslaughter, facing a maximum prison sentence of 30 years. Number 9. Verity. In early October of 2025, Mark Verity, a 37-year-old elementary school teacher from Long Island, began exchanging texts with a girl he believes was in her early teens. As the conversation moved from KIK to Snapchat, Verity, a married father of two, whose wife was an elementary school teacher in the same district, steered the talks into an intimate direction. He asked the girl how far she'd gotten with boys and received the reply that she'd done nothing past kissing. The teacher wrote that the teen had great lips for kissing. Verity asked for revealing photos, particularly of the teen wearing hot pink panties, and told her that she was prettier than his wife. He then tried to meet her for intercourse, promising to be super gentle, given that it would be her first time. In reality, Verity was interacting with a decoy profile set up by Predator Poachers Long Island. The person on the other side of the conversation was a 29-year-old group member, using AI to make herself appear younger. As the message exchange continued, Verity was approached by the vigilante group outside his workplace at the Wadding River Elementary School. In the viral video confrontation, Verity admitted to messaging the decoy and to having a vast collection of illicit adult videos featuring youths, while blaming his behavior on a lack of intimate relations in his marriage. The police investigated the matter after the clip was posted, and Verity was arrested on multiple charges. Number 8. Heather Pinchbeck. 28-year-old former prison officer Heather Pinchbeck appeared at Birmingham Crown Court in late October of 2025 to face a charge of misconduct in a public office, stemming from her illegal communication with an inmate. The offence was reported to have occurred from February to March of 2023 when she was employed at HMP Dovegate in Uto, Exeter, Staffordshire. At the time, Pinchbeck was working in the Category B male jail, and she allegedly exchanged illicit messages and calls with an inmate she was meant to be guarding. The nature of their communication remained unclear, but it was believed to have been flirtatious in nature. The inmate in question was identified by the Daily Mail as 31-year-old Joseph Hardy, a violent offender serving a 14-year sentence for a vicious machete attack that he carried out in broad daylight. The male victim in that case suffered a skull fracture, and his leg, which was nearly severed outright in the attack, was amputated above the knee 6 days later. In connection to his talks with Pinchbeck, Hardy was charged and convicted of illicit communications and possessing a phone in prison. He pleaded guilty to both charges, and in September of 2025 was handed 2 concurrent 8-month sentences. Updates indicated that Pinchbeck had also pleaded guilty to her misconduct charge, and her sentencing hearing was set for January of 2026. Number 7. Mandie Reusch. I can't do this anymore. She needs to be punished. The courts are too slow, read the final social media post of Army veteran Kevin Metzger before he was found dead in June of 2021. The woman to whom he was referring in the post was Mandie Reusch, his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his daughter, who'd sent him an onslaught of vitriolic messages since early May of 2021. The Pennsylvania couple's relationship was described as on again, off again, and Reusch's barrage of WhatsApp texts followed their more recent separation. In them, she repeatedly told Metzger that he will never see their daughter again, and that she had a new partner whom the child would come to know as her father. You do not exist. He is her dad now, not you. Don't ever ask about her again. She isn't your daughter, she wrote to Metzger. Reusch threatened to move with the child to West Virginia, urging the man to call her bluff. She also threatened to shoot him if he came looking for her, and repeatedly wrote messages to the effect that the world would be a better place without him. On WhatsApp, Reusch mocked the recent passing of Metzger's beloved dog Zoe, claiming it was his fault and that the pet hated him. Reusch also wrote that she and her partner would on that book with pictures of your dead dog in it, adding that she would be doing so while your daughter calls him daddy. Reusch additionally mocked Metzger's bald head, bare belly, and rotten teeth, repeatedly boasted about her partner's prowess in bed, and sent him a 49-second clip of her performing an oral act on her new man. In her texts, Reusch claimed Metzger an abuser and woman beater, but the man's friends said that wasn't the case and that he was just trying to be a present father, in spite of Reusch tormenting him for years. The relentless abuse proved too much to bear for Metzger, who, before he was found dead, left behind a final note that began with, "Maybe she was right." The Westmoreland County DA said the level of bullying, harassment, and threats rose to a criminal level. Reusch was arrested for harassment and charged in connection to her estranged boyfriend's death, but a trial date hadn't been announced as of the latest updates on the matter. Number 6. Madison Bergmann. Disgraced Wisconsin elementary school teacher Madison Bergmann, aged 25, appeared in court in late September of 2025. Through abundant tears, she pleaded guilty to 1 count of child enticement and 2 of misconduct of an intimate nature. The charges stemmed from her inappropriate relationship with a preteen boy during her employment at Rivercrest Elementary School. The alarm was raised on April the 29th of 2024 when the boy's mother overheard him talking to Bergmann on the phone. The victim's parents then checked his phone and discovered disturbing text exchanges between him and the teacher. Some of the lines from Bergmann read, "I love having your hand on my chest. I want to lick your abs. And I almost kissed you when you were on the ground today, but I got distracted by your stomach." In other texts, she said how much she enjoyed the boy touching her and making out with him. The boy's father reportedly stormed into the school with printouts of the troubling exchanges. The police were contacted and a search of Bergmann's possessions produced a folder emblazoned with the victim's name that contained love notes the teacher and student had written to each other. According to a complaint, Bergmann wrote in her notes that she loves him, wants to kiss him, he turns her on, and that she is obsessed with him. When officers spoke to the victim, he said that he really liked Bergmann and trusted her. The teacher was arrested. She was supposed to get married in July of that year, and the charges completely blindsided her fiancé, who promptly ended their relationship. Bergmann eventually took a plea deal and was due to be sentenced in December of 2025. Number 5. Robert Tarr. On the eve of Thanksgiving 2021, Leslie Reeves and Chris Smith were on a first date in Farmersville, a village about half an hour south of Springfield, Illinois. They met up with friends from Smith's group and by all accounts had a great time together. Reeves and Smith then went back to his home. At around 1 a.m. they were heating up a frozen pizza when an intruder smashed through the back door. Reeves, a 45-year-old mother of 2, was fatally shot in the head from point-blank range execution style. Smith was shot in the head as well. His dog, Tiki, cuddled up to him on the kitchen floor and kept him warm during the unreasonably cold weather until help arrived. Smith was found by first responders 14 hours after he was shot. He underwent emergency brain surgery and was placed in a medically induced coma. In January of 2022, he awoke from the coma with no memory of what had happened. His survival was deemed remarkable, but it wasn't without consequence, as he remained permanently paralyzed on his left side and with bullet fragments still lodged in his brain. "I did nothing wrong. I don't get it. All I was trying to do was trying to go out on a date," the single dad later told a media outlet. Leading up to the shooting, Reeves had been trying to sever ties with her obsessive ex-boyfriend Robert Tarr. He would be arrested for her murder and the attempted murder of Smith. One particularly damning piece of evidence came in the form of messages that Tarr had sent to a friend on the night in question, discussing his intentions. One message that the prosecution presented in court read, "I don't feel she would drive that far for a party or go out with a girlfriend. I think it's for a dude." Further evidence given by Tarr's own daughter tied him to the attack, including her recounting that he'd left the home on the night in question and spotting him with a distinctive gun that had a laser sight on it. That same gun was given to detectives by Tarr's brother, and bullet cases from the scene proved a match. After his arrest, Tarr reportedly tried to contract an assassin to kill Smith as well as a detective working on the case. The attempt failed. In April of 2024, Tarr was found guilty of murder, attempted murder, and various other charges stemming from the attack. He was sentenced to 85 years in prison. Number 4. Stephanie Jensen. In November of 2025, a 41-year-old teacher's aide from Fond du Lac County, Wisconsin, was arrested for having intercourse with a teenage boy whom she reportedly groomed since he was a preteen. Stephanie Jensen was working at the Faith Lutheran School when she first met the victim. She was fully aware of his age since she taught second grade at the school. The boy said that he was in his mid-teens when the relationship with Jensen became physical. For years, they met up for intercourse and she shared intimate videos and photos of herself with him. When she was interviewed at her home, the woman admitted to sending the victim explicit content but denied having intercourse with him. Upon being told that she would be taken into custody, Jensen declared, "I am not under arrest." She refused to go quietly and was removed from her couch by force. She faced multiple charges including enticement, exposing intimate parts to a minor, and second-degree assault. Number 3. Khalil Wheeler-Weaver. 20-year-old Sarah Butler, a YMCA lifeguard and a second-year student at New Jersey City University, disappeared on November the 20th of 2016. Days later, on December the 1st, her body was found in Eagle Rock Reservation, and an autopsy revealed she'd been fatally strangled. As a police investigation was underway, loved ones logged into Butler's social media accounts to track her last movements. They discovered that she'd last spoken to a man on the social media app, Tagged. He solicited her for intercourse, offering $500. Butler replied, "Wow, you're not a serial killer, right?" In a dark twist of events, it would emerge that the young man in question, Khalil Wheeler-Weaver, was in fact a serial killer. He'd killed at least 2 escorts before, taking Butler's life as well. Butler's friends and family didn't know that and simply believed he knew something about her disappearance. They set up fake profiles, interacted with Wheeler-Weaver, and lured him out with the promise of intercourse. An in-person meetup was arranged and the authorities were notified. When Wheeler-Weaver showed up, he was arrested. The sting operation set up by Butler's loved ones proved vital in exposing him as a serial killer and bringing him to justice. Wheeler-Weaver operated in New Jersey and used tagged to target escorts, believing no one would miss them. His spree had begun on August the 31st of 2016, when he arranged a meeting with 19-year-old Robin West, a young woman who'd become an escort while struggling with her mental health. After strangling her to death, he set fire to her body in an abandoned house in Orange. While investigators were looking into West's murder, 35-year-old Joanne Brown was reported missing in October of 2016. She was last seen climbing into Wheeler-Weaver's vehicle before her body was found in another abandoned home in Orange, fatally strangled and with duct tape covering her nose and mouth. The sole survivor of Wheeler-Weaver's spree was Tiffany Taylor. During his trial, she recounted regaining consciousness in the backseat of her car with duct tape on her face as the serial killer was forcing himself on her and trying to choke her back to sleep. Taylor convinced Wheeler-Weaver to take her back to the Ritz Motel in Elizabeth, where they'd first met. Under the guise that she'd forgotten her phone, on arrival she darted into a room, locked the door and called 911, prompting him to flee. Roughly a week later, he killed Butler. There wasn't much physical evidence tying Wheeler-Weaver to the killings aside from a trace amount of his DNA found underneath one of his victim's fingernails. However, his phone's geolocation data tracked his movements during and after the murders, both to the places where he arranged to meet victims and the locations where their bodies were later discovered. Additionally, Wheeler-Weaver had searched online for information on drugs to incapacitate dates and homemade poisons. He was ultimately found guilty in 2019 of 3 counts of murder and desecration of human remains, attempted murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, aggravated arson, and kidnapping. He was sentenced to 160 years in prison. Number 2. Graham Dwyer. On August the 22nd of 2012, troubled Irish woman Elaine O'Hara disappeared from her home. A witness later reported a woman matching her description crying loudly beside an old grave in Shanganagh Cemetery in South County Dublin. O'Hara, whose car was found in the area, had been diagnosed with depression and borderline personality disorder. Given her psychiatric history, it was assumed she had jumped off nearby cliffs. In September of 2013, fishermen found a bag lying in the water in Vartry Reservoir near Roundwood, County Wicklow. It contained handcuffs, clothing, a ball gag, and restraints. Further searches produced a knife and a key ring with a loyalty card confirmed as belonging to O'Hara. 2 still operational Nokia cell phones were also recovered. Days later, O'Hara's skeletal remains were found on wooded land near Killarkey, in the foothills of the Dublin Mountains. The authorities launched an investigation and learned that in 2007, O'Hara had met architect Graham Dwyer on a fetish website. They became involved in an intimate master-slave relationship that featured bondage, violence, and knives, as evident from subsequently recovered homemade videos. After the relationship dwindled, Dwyer contacted O'Hara again in 2011 from a prepaid phone. As their exchange progressed, Dwyer repeatedly expressed an intention of forcing himself on a woman and killing her. Dwyer tasked O'Hara, who referred to him as Sir, with finding a suitable victim. "My urge to stab or kill is huge. You have to help me control or satisfy it," the man wrote. They discussed planning and finding a victim with potential targets including O'Hara's neighbor, a homeless person, or an escort. Dwyer repeatedly expressed to O'Hara an intention of killing her and was refused. He at one point wrote, "I might just snap and stick you anyway, against your will." She said no, prompting Dwyer's reply saying, "You love it. You enjoy me stabbing the of you. It makes me happy." Dwyer, who denied knowing O'Hara when questioned, was arrested for her murder. Her cause of death couldn't be determined, but investigators believed he'd lured her to the cemetery and then took her to the mountains where he stabbed her to death. The case rested primarily on the text exchanges, and on March the 27th of 2015, Dwyer was unanimously convicted, sentencing him to life imprisonment. The judge stated that he 110% agreed with the jury's decision. Number 1. Jacqueline Ades. In May of 2018, Arizona woman Jacqueline Ades was booked at the Maricopa County Jail after she'd stalked and harassed a man over a period of 10 months. They went on 1 date in 2017, but she subsequently sent him over 159,000 text messages, sometimes up to 500 per day, and some containing violent threats. One read, "Oh, what would I do with your blood? I'd want to bathe in it." In another text, Ades wrote that she would make sushi out of the man's kidneys and chopsticks out of his hand bones. The harassment escalated to her breaking into his Paradise Valley home while he was away. The man saw her on surveillance footage and alerted law enforcement. Officers found Ades taking a bath at the home, and she told them, "I guess that I made up a whole scenario in my head where I live here." A large butcher knife was found in her car at the time. Ades was initially facing felony charges of stalking, threatening, and criminal trespassing. During her time in jail, she was found mentally incompetent to assist in her own defense. In 2019, Ades refused a plea deal that would have resulted in her release with time served but required a 10-year ban from contacting the victim. The woman expressed the belief that the deal wasn't real, that the victim was testing her, and that the jury would not only find her innocent, but demand that she and the man get married. After evaluations determined she was non-restorable to competency, the charges were dismissed. It remained unclear what became of Ades, but it was likely she was committed to a mental health institution or released under a legal guardian. Thanks for watching. Text in, FaceTime, or voice call. Assuming you could only choose one to communicate for the rest of your life, which would it be and why? Let us know in the comments section below.